Hello, everyone.
Hey, everyone.
Happy Wednesday and happy day two.
Day two. Well done.
Well done. Well done to a lot of you. This is your educational video for today. And we are going to talk about mindfulness practice.
Ooh.
What it is and why practice mindfulness. Right? So, for me, when I started meditating, it really brought to my awareness how much my mind is really not in the, well, was not at the time, was not in the moment. And that the antidote to the fact that we are constantly everywhere but right now. If any of you have read Eckhart Tolle, The Power of Now, you know, he's great for talking about this. He talks about how the only moment we ever really have is right now.
Truth.
The future, you know, doesn't exist. The past is gone. Bless you. The only thing we have is right now. Right? And I want to challenge you guys to start bringing your attention to how much and how often. And we touched on this yesterday when I talked about brushing your teeth and being present when you're brushing your teeth. So I really want you guys to take it up a notch and start realizing how much and how often you are everywhere but right now.
Right. So think about the mind as being very similar to a rubber band. You exist in this moment. And when you're in the past worrying, you're stretching the rubber band. And
One
then you
way.
come back to the moment, and when you're worried about the future, you're stretching the rubber band. And what happens when you're constantly stretching a rubber band?
It gets worn out.
Exactly.
It loses its elasticity.
So that's what meditation does. It brings you back to the present moment, and it resets that rubber band that our mind is.
And strengthens it.
Strengthens it.
I love that analogy. Good one, dude.
It's like having more and more rubber bands put on there, so it's not so easy to go to the past, and it's not so easy to go to the future because it's so anchored in the present moment. If you have a single rubber band on your hands, you can easily go backwards and forwards. This is what the mind is like when it's undisciplined. If you put 20 rubber bands on your hand, which is what meditation practice does for you, it's very difficult to move your hands one way or the other because it's much stronger. That's what meditation does for your mind.
Keeps you in the moment. And that's why mindfulness practice is especially good. You know how often do we just label ourselves as forgetful people? Right? So many of us, I'm just forgetful.
I forget all kinds of shit.
You know what the opposite of forgetfulness is?
Mindfulness.
Right on.
Yeah.
Right on.
Now,
so, go ahead.
Here's the thing. Don't be judgmental or critical about yourself. If you're forgetting things, you're forgetting things. It's where you're at. Give that space to yourself with love and acceptance. The same as when you're sitting in meditation and the mind wanders. You don't judge that space.
Right.
Oh, my mind's wandered. That's no worries. With love, bring it back to the breath. When you are finding yourself, you've just driven to work and you have no idea how you got there. 1 minute you're on your driveway, the next minute you're pulling into your parking space at work, and you're like,
that's what we're talking about when it's like, be present.
How did I get here? One sec.
Hold on. We're about to have a...
Come here, Corgi.
Hi. Hello. Good. Luna. Shh. Sorry, everybody. We had some passerby. And the guard corgi had to chime in. So sorry about that.
So, when you've just pulled up at work and you have no idea how you've gotten there, you can do one or two things. You can be like, forgot to be mindful again. And you can beat yourself up and judge yourself over it. Or you can have a laugh about it. You can say, okay, tomorrow I'm going to have at least a quarter of this drive where I know what I'm doing.
You can take it as a moment to laugh at yourself and be like, wow, I just got to see how mindless I really am being. And don't judge yourself for it. Just approach it with love and with humor. To touch on I want to read you guys something. It says, you know, most of us are forgetful. We are not really here a lot of the time. The mind is caught in worries, fears, anger, regrets, and we are not mindful of being there. This state of being is called forgetfulness. So it's not so much like, oh, I forgot, you know, to do something slipped my mind. Like, especially, like, people start getting older, our minds get more forgetful. That this isn't about that. You know, this isn't about, like, be really hard on yourself for being forgetful. It's about being forgetful, meaning when you're not here all of the time. So this state of being is called forgetfulness. You are there, but you are not there. You are caught in the past or in the future. You are not there in the present moment, living your life deeply. This is forgetfulness. And so what I want to touch on really quickly is, if you're forgetting things, why are you forgetting them? Are you forgetting them because you're tripping on something that happened 4 days ago, or because you're living 5 days in the future tripping on something that's not even here yet? Or are you legitimately forgetting because, okay, you know, maybe there's something wrong in your mind. People have injuries that, you know, cause damage that make them forgetful. With age, we start to get more forgetful. So there are legitimate causes to be forgetful, and then there's forgetfulness because you're not in the moment.
Right.
So that's what you and only you can start to establish for yourself. Is looking at that and looking at why you're forgetting and where your mind is. And that's what, when I say the antidote to forgetfulness is mindfulness, and that's when you start walking around saying, okay, I'm washing the dishes right now, and oh, this soapy water feels so nice, and oh, look at the soap bubbles on the plate. And you know, I was literally talking to something this morning, and we had a big old laugh about how it's so simple that it's almost idiotic. Especially for those of us that analyze and are very intellectual.
Right.
But that's how we need it to be in the beginning. Step out in nature and look around and say, hello, nature, you know, look at that tree. Look at this rock that's next to me. Verbally bring yourself into the moment.
Right.
You know, and Chris mentioned it yesterday too. Mindfulness practice can be walking. Your walking can be a meditation.
Walking, doing the dishes, brushing your teeth.
Anything.
Driving. It doesn't
Eating.
matter where you are. And you know the best way to come back to the moment? We talk about it all the time. The breath. The breath shows up in the moment. You're not breathing yesterday and you're not breathing tomorrow. Not from here. You have breathed yesterday and you will breathe tomorrow, but you're breathing right now for right now.
Right. Breathe presently and breathe deeply. That's probably the biggest thing I've been hearing from you guys is, I can't believe I didn't realize how shallow I breathe. You know, so I want you guys to, and a lot about, you know, the mind being all over the place. So, challenge. I would like you guys to start noticing where your mind is when you're brushing your teeth, where your mind is when you're getting ready to leave the house in the morning, where your mind is when you sit down to eat, and where your mind is when you know, sit down at the end of the day before bed.
Right.
I want you guys to start looking at that. Start bringing awareness to where your mind likes to live. You know, some of us like to live in the past. Some of us like to live in the future, tripping on the stuff we have no control over because it's not here yet.
Right.
When it is here, it's going to be here and it'll be the moment.
Start journaling. You know, and pay attention. Pick 3 key times throughout the day. And when you get to those 3 key times, set a little alarm on your phone or your watch, or, you know, do people still wear watches? I don't know.
Or do it while you eat, you know?
Yep.
These tasks that you're guaranteed to do, if you can start training your mind to look at where it's at, training yourself to look at where your mind's at over when you're doing these things. You know, are you off worrying about bills? Are you worrying about work next week? Are you beating yourself up for something that's, you know, past and gone?
Do you know how many present moments we destroy because we're so focused on what's about to happen? And I mean, I could give countless examples, but the biggest one, if you're on holidays and your holiday ends in 3 days and you're lying on a beach in the Caribbean and, you know, in 2 days you have to fly back
and you're already tripping on that.
You have to fly back to LA in 2 days and you start work back in 3 days. And you're tripping on the fact that...
Hey everyone, sorry about that.
Hey everyone.
My phone decided to cut us off.
Yep, so we're just going to finish up on that thought.
We just got like another minute or two.
Yeah, you've got the gist of what we were saying anyway. So, mindfulness practice. Whatever you're doing, bring yourself back to your breath, just like you do in your meditation. And you can do that with everything that you're doing throughout the day. And that becomes a practice of mindfulness.
Just being in the moment.
Yep. A little saying that I was told by a very wise teacher of mine once was, wherever your feet are, be there.
Be there.
Yeah.
So, yep. I would love for you guys to take the challenge and start commenting in here, noticing where your mind is and what you're tripping on and what your preferred method of distraction is. And let's talk about it.
Totally.
Start bringing awareness to that and start seeing where you're not mindful and where you are. You know, find the things that you find yourself really present for and notice what that feeling feels like.
Yep.
And then start to notice where you can bring that feeling into the other activities you do in the day. And that's how you'll know you're being mindful.
There we go.
Like, just quickly for me, it was when I noticed when I would snowboard, I would be really present and really in the moment. And that was the feeling I started to tap into while I was doing everything else. And I found that joy is available anywhere at any time, but only in the moment.
Exactly. It was the same thing for me with windsurfing and rock climbing. You know, the two things that I loved to do more than anything else on earth, because they just thrust me into the moment and nothing existed but the moment. But you can find that anywhere. You don't have to be windsurfing, snowboarding or rock climbing.
So that's the challenge for the day, is find that.
Right on.
Find that peace in the moment and let us know how it goes. Blessings, and we'll see you guys soon.